Well, it's the end of 2024, and that means everyone out there and their brother has a games list or a game awards show, and I will be no different as I introduce my 2024 Game of the Year awards, miscellaneous awards, whatever I want them to be awards, that have no rhyme or reason for existing, just things I want to talk about all in one long video, and hopefully get some feelings and thoughts out there, and maybe you agree with some of these choices and maybe you don't. Either way, there's a lot of stuff that's new in this video, there's a lot of stuff that's old in this video. Hopefully you'll strap down and enjoy this one and it won't be too painful to watch, and maybe you'll agree with some stuff I say and maybe you won't. That being said, it's time to get into my first award for the year. This is my first odd award, that is the game I will never ever finish or probably ever play again. And that award goes to none other than Lunar 2 Eternal Blue. A game I bought brand new years ago when it first came out, or re-released, whatever you want to call it, and played one time, died immediately in the first battle, put it back in the case, and have not touched it since. I've unboxed it, I love all the stuff inside, I think it's a really cool special edition, but I will never play or finish this game, and I'd just be better off watching a playthrough on YouTube at this point. So, that was my first award, and again, that is the game I will never play or finish, Lunar 2 Eternal Blue. For my next award this evening, we're going to go with the game I finally finished. So this year's Game I Finally Finished award goes to none other than Time Crisis 2. I love the Time Crisis series. I played a lot in the arcades, and I spent a lot of money trying to beat them, and I never really got anywhere until I had my Time Crisis set up at home. That was about 2 summers ago. There's videos on the channel where you can see it. But I have 2 CRTs, 2 Namco controllers, we'll call them, and 2 copies of the game. I spent a lot of time with people in game nights trying to finish this game, and I was never able to. But a few days ago, I got off the couch and I said, go and finish that game that you've been meaning to beat since probably 2002. And here we are. Time Crisis 2 is officially finished, even though it was on kind of easy mode, but I still finished it and it still counts. Moving right along, the next award is the best retro game that I played at random that I've wanted to play for a long time, or at least I remember seeing in magazines. And the best retro game I played this year goes to Apocalypse for the PlayStation 1. What a quirky game, at least. It's a licensed game, at least in the character of Bruce Willis. You're playing as Bruce Willis in this apocalyptic world. Maybe you're in alien jail, I don't really know. But it has a very unique control scheme, and I believe it was made by Neversoft, who would go on to do the Tony Hawk series. I remember when this game came out, there's a huge marketing campaign for it, and it got pretty decent reviews at the time. But Neversoft and a lot of the stuff that I think it was Interact who published it, the companies that published it didn't have like good track records with people at the time for making quality products. So I kind of ignored it. I think a lot of the people did too. But I was able to play this game recently. I spent a couple good Sundays down here in the game room playing it, and I can tell you, if you have access to the game Apocalypse for PS1, you should try to play it. It's a very enjoyable game. The control scheme is different. It takes a little getting used to, not much, and I think once you pick it up and get into it, you'll really, really enjoy it. So this Retro Game of the Year award for 2024 goes to Apocalypse for the PlayStation 1. Moving right along on a Game Awards here, let's give the award for the game I really want to play, but I just can't get into, and I've been trying for years now. And that's the game you see behind me now. This year's game I really want to play but just can't get into it would be the JRPG Jade Cocoon. I've been trying really hard to get into it. I've spent a fair amount of hours and I just can't do it. One of the things that really hinders it at this point is that tank control scheme. I have a really hard time going back to games that have that tank set up and trying to play them. Not the most fun experience. Either way, I know it's a great RPG for a lot of people, and I'm sure a lot of people have great memories about it, but I just can't get into it. The style is amazing, the anime stuff is really cool, the world feels great, everything feels so authentic, so wonderful, so beautiful, and I just can't get into it. So unfortunately, Jade Cocoon is one of those games that I will most likely never play again or finish. I'd love to, but it's just not really something I'm feeling right now. This year's award for best game I just found out about would have to go to this little gem right here. That would be Record of Lodoss War, Daedalus Labyrinth, or it's called Daedalus in Wonder Labyrinth, my apologies. This PS4 release, and I believe it's available elsewhere, really surprised both me and my wife. I believe this is what you'd call a Metrovania style game, and it's really fun for my wife. I started playing it, I thought it was pretty cool, I thought it looked cool. The music is fantastic, the style is really reminiscent of 16-bit games, but my wife saw it and she picked up the controller and she hasn't put it down since. So this is her favorite game, and I would have never known about it unless I was watching some random YouTuber talk about this random Record of Lodoss War game. So that was a cool find. We picked it up used, of course, and we've been enjoying it ever since. So this is my surprise game I didn't know existed up until too long ago, but it's an excellent one. I think my wife, you enjoy it, right?
Yes, definitely.
This is your go-to for how many evenings now?
Yes.
Could we have some good conversation? Yes. I spend a lot of money on games every year, and not all of them are winners. I try to be very selective with what I buy, and unless it's discounted or marked down, chances are I'm not going to buy it unless I'm going to play the game. I was really excited to see this get re-released on the Switch this year, and I immediately got a copy. I got the special edition, the collector's edition, whatever you want to call it, and now it has gathered dust. So, my 2024 Game That Just Gathers Dust award would be the following: Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. A game I really thought that everyone would be excited to play. I thought we'd bring out game nights. I thought I'd bring it to school, and no one's talked about this. No one mentions it. It was probably one of those things that was more nostalgia than anything else for a lot of people. And I can almost guarantee a lot of people have bought this and probably not played it. Me included. We played it one time for about 30 minutes, went back into the case, and it's still there. I didn't even open up all the bonus stuff. This might be collectible in the future. I'm sure it will be. It's Nintendo, so always happens that way. But just nothing really here that I'm. It just, I don't know. I don't know how to describe this without making people angry, but it was just and now it just sits in a box and gathers dust. So kind of a regretful purchase. I should have just bought the game by itself if we wanted to mess around with it at Game Club or at game nights, but I went and bought this stupid special edition, so now I'm going to live with my mistake for a long time. A very coveted award would be the best video game music of 2024. And without further ado, and I can't play it for you, I'm going to give you my choice for the best video game music, and that would be Stellar Blade for the PS5. This music really, really hit different. I don't know how to describe it, except a perfect mix between things like Bayonetta and Nier Automata, which is essentially what it is. It's wonderful, it's beautiful, there's some amazing vocal tracks. The vocalists for the game were just gorgeous to listen to. Some of my favorite stuff. I am listening to the soundtrack on my own, in the car, at home, at school, so I know it's good. This is one of the first video game soundtracks in a long time that I've genuinely enjoyed and have genuinely kept listening to over and over and over again. They just don't make them like they used to, especially this kind of music. It's very catchy, stays in your head, but it's also just absolutely gorgeous. And it manages to do a great job of matching the mood to the gameplay no matter what you're doing. So best music of 2024 has to be Stellar Blade. One of my wife and I's favorite things to do is to get together and play video games together. Either she'll read the strategy guide or look up things online for me and I'll play the game, or sometimes even vice versa. We were really excited this year to find this game that had been relatively popular, even though it was an indie game, and we picked up a copy of it and we played through it. The game that me and my wife enjoyed playing the most together in 2024 has to go to Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. One of the most interesting games I've probably ever played. A heck of a simulator for all kinds of problems and disorders and burdens. It's very deep, it's very disturbing, it's very interesting. I think it's very well done, especially if you have a really good sound system. My God, the sound system down here was just creeping me out all the time. The visuals are amazing, the sound design is incredible, the story is interesting, albeit extremely not for kids. This is not for kids. Don't let your kids even near the room while you're playing it. But Senua's Sacrifice has to be one of the most interesting games I've seen for a long time. I really enjoyed playing it. I think my wife enjoyed it as well. I think you did.
Yes, I did.
We did. It took us a while to get through it, just because we had to wait till the kids were not around at all to play it. But we definitely enjoyed it, and that is one that didn't see coming. So for us, our game that we enjoy playing together, Senua's Sacrifice, definitely worth a pickup. Also pretty cheap right now. I always take chances on games. My big philosophy is judge the book by its cover. So when I see a game with a cool cover or different kind of art in the front, I pretty much buy it immediately, especially if it looks really, really strange or it's based in this kind of weird time period. But sometimes that goes wrong. My 2024 most disappointing and wasted potential game this year, and that would have to go to Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden. A really cool concept where you're playing as someone who is alive and your partner is sort of a ghost, but sort of there, sort of not. You get cool powers. It's an interesting premise. You're going to free, I believe it's like a settler's village, New Eden. It's supposed to be like a Salem kind of allegory from this grasp of these, I don't know, ghosts or hauntings or demons or whatever they may be. And you're going there to do that, and it just keeps going for too long. It goes for too long. It outstays its welcome. It is hyper repetitive. And let me get my biggest complaint out of the way right now, which seems like a weird one, but bear with me. It's going to be a weird complaint, but the loading zones in this game really make me angry and completely remove me from the experience that this is supposed to be. I think the design of the game itself is really cool. It's always neat to explore, like, I guess you can say a pioneer village, or whatever you want to call it, settler village, things that happened around the time the US was formed. That's really cool, but the loading zones bother me. What do I mean by that? Let's put it this way. You'll be on a pathway, on a road, going from one settlement, one town to another. You'll be going down this road, and you'll see there's wagons, there's carts, there's horse activity, there's ruts from the wagons going up and down this road, and then you'll hit a literal wall, and in that wall there'll be a little area carved out for you to go through. That's a loading zone. I get that. When you go in a game and you're going through a small crevice you have to go through, that's a loading zone. And when used sparingly, they're fine. Every single time you have to go somewhere different in this game, there's one of those loading zones that removes you from the experience of the game. Why is that? Because it's clear that they have people living beyond this mountain, that people are living beyond this point here, and they have supplies, and they have houses, and they have all this stuff, but everyone's crawling through this small crevasse to get through to their house. And then, of course, on the other side, the road continues as if there was not a crevasse there. It really breaks the immersion in that game, and I'm not sure what the point of that was, except to save on resources or maybe inexperienced programmers. I don't know. But the loading zones in this game, and if you play it, and you can play it for like $10, $5 or $10 on discount. If you play it, I think you'll know exactly what I mean very quickly. The endless amount of loading zones that completely break the immersion that you're in this world. Very disappointing to me, first off. Second off, the gameplay loop was just it's the same thing over and over and over again. And I get that. I don't think this is a AAA game, so it's going to have a lot of the samey stuff. It overstayed its welcome just a bit. The story towards the end got stupid. I didn't really care for it after a while. I was like, where is this going? It started off so interesting and so promising, and then it just kind of was like, it petered out at the end there, and that's the best way I can go forward with it. It does have a moral consequence system that does have consequences, but some of the moral ambiguities, it was like, that's really not ambiguous what the morality was there. That was strange enough for me. One of the other things is it has an upgrade system that really isn't an upgrade system. Let me try to explain that real quick. When you go to upgrade your points, and there's all kinds of weird points, and you get more than you need, but you can't use all of them. When you go to do that, you'll have something like, increases your damage done by this ability by 50%, but it makes you take 90% more damage. Or, oh, increases the rate of reload by like 3 seconds, but now your special ability stuff won't charge very quickly. Increase the amount of time you can do this by 5 seconds, but decreases your health by this. Increases damage by 2, but increase the cost by 8. It's that kind of stuff right there where it's not really an upgrade system, so you're going about the whole game, and you never really feel more powerful, and you find yourself using the same 2 or 3 moves just to get through it. On deep discount, go ahead and give it a try. It's definitely not the worst I've ever played, but definitely a waste and disappointing, and I'm very sad because I paid darn near full price for the game, and I could have done better. I could have saved it for something else. So, Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden, just disappointed all around. I always have a soft spot in my heart for RPGs, especially JRPGs. So when I found the Like a Dragon series this past year, I've never played the Yakuza games, I was really excited. That RPG, Like a Dragon, was incredible. I really, really enjoyed it. And so did my wife. We really got into it at the end, and I think it was one of our favorite games to play together the last year. It's an older game. When I saw the sequel was coming out, I got to it right away. So my RPG of the year has to go to Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Now, more great characters, more great stories, more great side quests, lots of games contained within. In this game, you have an Animal Crossing simulator, you have a Crazy Taxi simulator, you have a whole bunch of other games within a game. So the value here is insane. Voice acting's great, music where it's there is okay, but it's like Yakuza game, it's like a Dragon game, it's good. The one thing that got me was the story. It just kind of, again, it was really intriguing, really interesting, and then at the end, it was like, just kind of gave out on its own, and it was a really high climax and then just kind of went down from there. So the story towards the end really didn't hold up. The story was better before it did its thing at the end. So that was kind of a letdown there. Still very enjoyable. A lot of fun. The classes you can play, the weapons, everything is just fun in this game. It's very lighthearted, but also has some moments of very serious nature and has a good balance of those things. I really enjoy this, and I'm looking forward to the next one because I'm sure there will be a next one. Frequently, I'll pick up a game, start playing it, and I'll have to put it down because I'm just not feeling it. And a lot of times I don't come back to those games. The exception this time would be this year's game I put down, but I'm glad I picked back up, and that would of course be what's behind me, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The Rebirth series, or whatever you want to call it, the remake series, has been very different from the original so far, in a good way and a bad way, in ways that make me happy, in ways that kind of disappoint me. But in general, I enjoyed the first remake. I thought it was pretty cool, and I like being in this world that's much more realized and much more, I guess you could say, cohesive. I picked up Rebirth, I popped it in, I played it for about an hour, took it out, put it back in the box, and I didn't touch it for a long time. I made a video about that on TikTok or YouTube, and people in the comments said you need to give it a chance. You need to get back into it and just let it go and see what happens. And for the first time, I got back into it, and they were absolutely correct. I ended up spending a ton of time in this game, way more time than I thought I would have. I did almost everything I could in the game itself, but towards the end, I started getting burned out, and I said, well, it's time to finish this one up and move on to the next game. But either way, FF7 Rebirth, I can see why everyone loved it. I can see why it was well received. Definitely an excellent game, and I would definitely recommend it. And if you put it down, I do agree. Give it a chance. For this next award, I have to get up and get some of this, so I'll be right back. Every year I make a lot of purchases for my game room and the game room at school and the video game club, and this year I finally decided to go through a lot of my stuff, my surplus stuff I don't use, trade it all in, get some store credit at the local game store, maybe get a PS5 or something like that for the game club, or at least help fund it. What I didn't expect was to have enough trading credit where I was able to get something really cool, and I was really surprised at how everyone's received it so far. So this year's best purchase I made goes to this Virtual Boy right here. One of the oddities that Nintendo made, and definitely not something you want to play for too long at a time, the Virtual Boy is this cool little console that was just completely obliterated in the press when it came out, and I understand why people didn't like it. But I can tell you, I brought this to Game Club, I brought it on game nights, I've had it down here for a long time since I bought it over the summer, and people really like it. They really enjoy it, especially the Game Club. The kids really got into playing this. The effect is really cool. It works pretty well, and I'm kind of sad that Nintendo was so discouraged with this iteration of the Virtual Boy. It was so discouraged they just decided to abandon it altogether. It's definitely a cool piece of gaming history. It's a cool piece of hardware, and I'm glad I picked it up because a lot of people have enjoyed it. And if I hadn't bought this instead of like a PS5, then a lot of people would never have experienced this or even know what it was. So I'm glad I just spent the money on this instead, and I'm glad to have it in the collection. It's one of those cool things that, the kids I teach may not understand it now, but 5, 10 years will be like, oh my gosh, I got to play a Virtual Boy. It's pretty cool. And me too. I got to play a Virtual Boy. It's pretty cool. Not the greatest thing ever, but certainly not as bad as everyone made it out to be, and definitely a worthy investment for the club and for my personal collection. Everyone really enjoys this thing. Great purchase this year. One of the best party systems we have is definitely the Switch. Everyone loves playing it. My kids love playing it. We love playing it. It's a lot of fun to be had, and the games are simple and accessible for everyone pretty much no matter what. Therefore, without further ado, I will announce my 2024 Switch Game of the Year as Super Mario Party Jamboree. A game that has just enough of what's old and just enough of what's new to be really enjoyable for everyone involved. My kids love it, we love it, the kids at school love it too. It's just great. It's a great Mario Party game, and it has a lot of variety. There's so much to do, and the boards are awesome, and I can't say enough good stuff about it. We've had countless hours of fun as with family and friends playing Mario Party Jamboree. So if you're looking for a good party game this year, you literally can't go wrong with Mario Party Jamboree. It's definitely worth a pickup. This year's game that I'm having a very difficult time getting into, but everyone else seems to love no matter what, is a tough one. See, my wife and I both love the Persona series, and we've been playing it for a while, even some of the offshoots of it. So when this came out, I didn't buy it brand new, waited till it went on sale, and finally I started playing it, and I'm not really keen to keep going. Of course, that game I'm talking about is Metaphor Fantasio. Not a bad game by any means. Persona game to be sure. It should have just been called Persona 6 at this point. And I get that. There's nothing wrong with that. Persona 5 is great. And the style in this game, of course, it's dripping with style. The music's interesting. It's good. The design, though, is just... It seems dated. It seems dated, and I'm having a real hard time getting through that. I'm having a real hard time dealing with the days system. You want to explore this world, you want to build relationships, you want to see everything, but you get like 1 or maybe 2 activities a day you can do before you have to go to sleep and the day advances. It needs to go. It needs to go, and I don't care who wants to comment about this, but that system needs to go badly. It's very frustrating, especially when you're trying to build a rich, detailed world. The calendar system makes me want to crash out, as the kids say. Aside from that, and I hate to say it, this is also my best PS3 game this year because it looks like a PS3 game. I know graphics aren't everything. I know it's expensive to do those things, but boy, it doesn't look very good anymore. They're trying really hard with all the colors and the style, but it feels like I'm playing the same exact game that started on the PS2 and it's on PS3, PS4. It doesn't feel like a PS5 game. Either way, I'm just having a hard time getting into it, but I'm going to force myself because this won so many awards this year and people love this so much that there has to be something there that I'm missing. And if I get through a lot of it and it's still not really hitting for me, then I'll stop playing, but at least I can say I tried. Either way, Metaphor Fantasio is a game this year that I'm really trying to play and enjoy, but it's just not happening so far. Well, that leaves us one thing left. That would be my Game of the Year for 2024. Which game did I enjoy the most? Did I have a lot of fun with? Did I really get into more than I thought I would? Well, this one's tough, and therefore, we're at a tie. I am not an original person, but I can see exactly why Astro Bot won so many people over this year at the Game Awards. This is one of those out-of-nowhere games that I didn't expect to be good. I don't think anyone really did, necessarily, and it's just a lot of fun to play. I've had a lot of fun playing it. My kids have had a lot of fun playing it. It is a colorful, happy adventure, and I don't care if people are mad about that, and that's why Astro Bot is half of my Game of the Year. It's just a wonderful family-friendly adventure that does get challenging. People say this game's not hard. Good lord, I have screamed, raged, crashed out, thrown controllers. This game gets tough in the challenge levels especially. The rest of it's very accessible, especially to kids, but when this game wants to challenge you, it will challenge you and hurt you. So that's half my Game of the Year award. My other half of the Game of the Year award we have to go to Stellar Blade, a game I didn't know I needed until I read about it online. This one came out of nowhere for me. I wasn't really aware of what was going on with it, and it was surprisingly enjoyable. Bayonetta 3 came out recently and disappointed me in every way, shape, and form. Bayonetta 3 felt like it never moved away from when the second one came out so many years ago. It felt dated, it felt stuck in the past, the gameplay wasn't fun anymore. Then along comes Stellar Blade and surprises me by taking the best aspects of Nier, the best aspects of Bayonetta, mixing it together with some weird robot stuff and some incredible music, and you get a great experience here. So I really, really enjoyed Stellar Blade. The story was interesting, and I hope they take it further and take it different places because there's definitely something cool here, and especially the music. I keep talking about it, and I will talk about it forever. The music made this game definitely worth it. Aside from the combat, which was also really fun, the exploration also really fun. Definitely some cool stuff going on there. So there you have it. My 2024 games of the year would be Astrobot and Stellar Blade. Two great games that I was really happy I picked up, and I really enjoyed them. If liking Astrobot and making it my game of the year makes me an original, oh well, I'm okay with that. I think it was definitely an excellent choice. And I think really pretty much anything at this table you're not going to go wrong with if you're looking to play something fun this year. Just because it didn't appeal to me doesn't mean it won't appeal to you. Just because it wasn't fun for me doesn't mean it won't be fun for you. To each their own, and my tastes are varied and all over the place. I kind of play what I want, when I want, how I want, and that's how you end up with such a smorgasbord of games you're seeing right here. Anyways, those are my 2024 Game Awards. I hope you enjoyed them, and I look forward to doing another one next year if I'm still around here on the worldwide internets. What do you think about my choices? Do you like them? Do you agree? What's your 2 cents? I'd love to see it below in the comments. We'll see you in the next one.